So let's go ahead and convert this minutes column right here inside of this list to hours. And we've given 2 examples here that we're going to jump into this video. So I'm going to show you an example from SharePoint lists as well as Microsoft Excel. So stand by, we'll jump right to it. So the first thing that I do typically, just kind of by default, if I'm trying to figure out what a formula is going to look like, or what they call in lists a calculated field, what it's going to look like, a lot of times I'll just go in here and transfer this over. So I'm going to show you that here in just a minute, but this would represent this column here, Sleep Act, and then this right here would represent that calculated field, which is right here and right here, as you can see, 2 different examples. And then this right here I have to use to get this number to be a normal number, right? Not with not as many numbers. I guess they're both normal. I'm going to use the round command, which you see right here. So let's go ahead and just jump right to this inside of the list. But just know that if you're accustomed to using Excel, it's a good place sometimes to start off. And we're going to come back here and I'm going to show you how you can use it more directly. So let's go into this list. And to get to this list, we have to get to a calculated field using site contents. So that's the first key thing to remember. Use site contents. We go to the list itself, hit settings, and we go down and we see these 2 calculated fields. And we're going to play in both of them today, but let's just go to this one first of all, hours. Now here within hours, notice that I'm representing the hours here, and I literally copied from the Excel spreadsheet. So here, I just went like this, hit copy and hit paste, and it pulled in now. Of course, notice here it gives a cell number here. I just converted that to the actual column name right here. Excuse me, a column. It's a cell ID, but I converted it to the column itself. Okay, and I can do that just right here, just by double clicking, and it enters it in. Okay, so that's how I did that, but you can notice divide by 60, same thing, and you see the result. The result is exactly the same. It shows us the numbers we want, right? So when we go back out here, it shows us this number right here. Now, I neglected to show you where we do the round setting. Sorry about that. So if you go in there, you go here, you click on number, and then set the number of decimals, and you can round off to whatever you want. Okay, so let's look at a second example of how we can use that calculated field. So here I'm going to go into the same different calculated field, the same premise. I'm going to take that field, Sleep Act, okay, and I'm going to divide it by 60. So I could do that just by doing this. By the way, find the column itself, double click on it, and divide it by 60. Okay, and we go in here and hit OK. Notice I'm still at a single line of text here, so very important to notice that. We're going to come back to that in just a minute, but let's look at the result here. Okay, so that works, but long. We want to round that number down. So let's see how to do that. So here, if we go back to site contents again, and remember site contents is your friend, we're going to go to health settings. We're going to go down to that calculated field, which is right here. And we're going to see that number there. Now, here's what's interesting. Notice that I have the data type being returned as a single line of text. And notice that I don't have any options for formatting those decimals. Now, I could put in some formatting commands here, for example, but I'm not going to do that. There's an easier way to do that. I'm going to just take and move that data type to a number. Now, for some of you, you may say, well, I really don't want it as a number because I'm going to transfer this to this list. I'm going to use it in Power Apps, and then I got to do some transfers there. So I want to really keep it as a text field. That's fine. You can do that using this, but let's click on number first, click on the number of decimals, and hit OK. Once you do that, when we go back to look at that list, notice it's trimmed it up, done exactly what we want, right? They look exactly the same. Again, back to site contents, down to the actual list, hit settings, and now let's go back into that field again. Now this is what's kind of interesting. You still want to use that as a single line of text for your Power Apps, no problem. Click it back to single line of text and hit OK. Now if we go back in here, notice that the format stays the same. Now let's test this, because I haven't actually tested this, but let's just test this and put in 200 and exit. And it still stays. So for those of you that are saying, well, it won't stay once you do it, it does stay. It works just fine. So it's still listed as a text field when you go in there, and when you transfer and use this data inside Power Apps, it's going to represent itself as a single line of text, but we've used the round command. So that's kind of nice. It rounds it right up for us. So that's kind of how we do things inside of lists and do calculations. That's why using a spreadsheet is becoming less and less attractive for organizations, because we can do a lot of that data right here within lists.